This is Tank Versus, the most entertaining,
most bonkers,
most action-packed,
most dramatic,
and the most spectacular show about which tank is stronger.
Who will win? The M4A1 or the Panzerkampfwagen 4F2?
The Foch or the T-95?
The Type 16 or the Stryker MGS?
Or let's go back to where it all started. One of the most popular reserve tanks against a reserve tank with a gun stabilizer.
Today, it's a fight between the Soviet BT-5
and the British A13 Mk I. Let's go.
The first round brings us to the warm sands of the Middle East. It's hot out here, but in just a few moments, it's going to get even hotter.
There are a few hundred meters between the tanks right now, but they drive at full speed, getting closer to each other with each passing second.
Soft contact. Both participants open fire on the move.
Let's see what happened. The Brit remains unscathed. The shell flew over them, but the Soviet tank lost its engine.
That wasn't a fluke. As you've probably noticed, the British vehicle slowed down right before the shot to make use of its shoulder rest.
Yeah, the shoulder stop stabilizer isn't really effective at high speed. They had to account for that.
The Soviet tank is on fire, but they decide not to extinguish the flames and instead focus on shooting again. Right now, both vehicles are in the middle of a reload. The difference in reload time between them is just 0.1 seconds. Both crews are getting ready to fire.
Shots fired! The British solid shot completely disabled the Soviet tank.
And the Soviet armor-piercing high-explosive ballistic-capped round made short work of the British vehicle. It's a tie. No points to both duelists. The second fight is in the jungle. This time, the tanks are really close to each other from the get-go, with barely 15 meters between them.
The A13 leaves the road for the nearby hill. So far, no sign of the enemy.
That's right, we're still in the cat-and-mouse phase. Being the first to spot the enemy is half the battle.
Meanwhile, the BT-5 climbs the hill and spots the British vehicle.
Not the best position for opening fire. They'll have to move in.
And they show no signs of slowing down. On the contrary, they go even faster.
The A13 finally sees the enemy. The Brit tries to catch the target in their sights.
The BT-5 is flying. It fires in midair.
It's a direct hit, eliminating the gunner. The Soviet reserve tank turns around hastily. It knows that the fight is far from over.
The A13 is still operational, so that's good. It can't fight back, though. Its best bet is to stall for time.
Almost, but nah. The BT-5 shoots at point-blank range and destroys the opponent.
The British vehicle had a chance to win, but this round was claimed by the BT-5. 1-1.
Let's take a good look at the shot that determined the outcome of the match. The BT-5 leaps in the air. It opens fire.
Good hit. Let's see if the British reserve tank can retake the initiative in the last round. It's time for the decisive battle, and it'll be on the oldest ground forces map, Karelia.
Hills, hollows, rocks. There's a lot of interest in terrain here, and using it to your advantage is the key to winning. Especially at this distance. There's less than 100 meters between the vehicles.
Our contestants are very aware of this. They carefully close the distance, hiding behind terrain features.
They're clearly aware of each other's presence and don't want to expose themselves.
The tanks are really close, on the different sides of the same hill. They approach it in very different ways, though.
The Brit decides to climb the hill. It makes perfect sense for the British vehicle. This tank has good enough gun depression to shoot on uneven terrain.
And the Soviet tank doesn't have a good depression, so it chooses to go around the obstacle to reach a good position for shooting. As soon as the enemy is in its sights, fire! Right on the move.
That's a miss! The A13 returns fire and knocks out the Soviet gunner. The shoulder stop stabilizer is doing its job.
It's the direct opposite of the situation we've seen in the second fight. Now it's the Soviet vehicle's turn to fight for survival. It has to survive the next attack, and then, who knows, maybe there's a chance for a comeback.
Let's see if the BT-5 can snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. The Brit is ready to shoot again. Fire!
The Soviet tank is eliminated. The winner of the third round is the A13 Mk I.
Is this what I think? Still a tie?
Yep. Both contestants fought well, but none of them could assert their dominance over the other.
The winner of this versus is… well, there's no winner this time. For the first time on this show, it's a draw.
See the next episode of Tank Versus next week. It's the fight that we announced a few episodes ago. The M60A2 versus the Leopard 1A5.
That's right, we're going back to MBTs. Share your predictions in the comments below.